A distress signal echoed across the Galactic Council's central command station, flashing red on every console. The signal carried only one message. An unidentified warship was approaching the outer border at high speed. No known ship in the Galactic Registry matched its design. Within seconds, high-ranking officials from multiple species filled the massive chamber, their voices layered with concern and urgency. The Supreme Chancellor of the Council, a tall, silver-skinned Silari, narrowed his eyes as he studied the incoming ship's trajectory on the holographic map. It was not slowing down. It was not answering any hails. A ship of this size and speed was either a diplomatic envoy with terrible manners or an invasion force. Across the room, a reptilian commander named Vexer hissed in frustration. His species, the Drask, had fought in countless wars, and his instinct told him this was not a friendly visit. He slammed his clawed fist against the table, his voice cold and sharp. No vessel moves like this unless it seeks war. We should engage immediately. A counselor from the Syrian race, a species known for their cautious diplomacy, raised a hand. We don't know their intentions. Attacking without cause may start a war we cannot win. Another alert flashed on the screen. The ship had just passed the outer defense perimeter without slowing. No scans, no warning, no attempt to communicate. It was moving with purpose, straight toward the heart of the Galactic Council's territory. The tension in the room thickened. No one had ever dared to enter the Council's space without permission. Every species understood the balance of power in the galaxy, the unspoken rules that kept the peace. Whoever commanded this warship was either a fool or someone powerful enough not to care. An emergency fleet was assembled within minutes. 50 warships, some of the most advanced in the galaxy, took formation along the ship's path. Their captains stood ready, weapons primed, waiting for the order to fire. The Supreme Chancellor took a deep breath before opening a direct transmission to the mysterious vessel. Unidentified warship, this is the Galactic Council. You are entering restricted space. Identify yourself immediately, or we will be forced to take defensive action. Silence. Seconds passed, stretching into minutes. No response. The warship continued moving, undeterred by the massive fleet blocking its way. On the Lid Council battleship, Commander Vexer's patience snapped. They ignore us. This is a direct threat. We fire now. The Chancellor hesitated. Then, a new reading appeared on the screen. It sent a chill through the entire command room. The warship's energy signature spiked, not as a weapon charge, but as a simple display of power. It was scanning the fleet, effortlessly bypassing their security systems. Within moments, their shields flickered, systems momentarily lagging as if a powerful force had just pressed against them. The fleet's captains stared at their screens in disbelief. The warship had not fired a single shot, yet it had already demonstrated complete technological superiority. Then, finally, a transmission came through. It was short, cold, clear. Stand down. The voice was human, a species that many in the Council had dismissed as young and reckless, a species that had never been invited into high-level diplomacy, a species that was now arriving in a warship that defied all known technology. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council felt fear. The silence that followed the human transmission was heavier than any explosion. The Galactic Council's war fleet, composed of some of the most advanced ships in known space, floated in a defensive formation, weapons primed. But for the first time, doubt crept into the minds of their commanders. Inside the Council's command center, Supreme Chancellor Valen felt an uneasy chill run down his spine. A single word, he muttered, staring at the audio transmission log. They sent us just 2 words, and yet, he trailed off, looking at the screen where the unknown warship remained on course. It had not altered its path, not slowed, not even acknowledged the blockade ahead. Commander Vexer's reptilian claws curled into fists. Enough hesitation. This ship is an act of aggression. I will not allow a threat to move unchecked. He turned to the battle fleet's transmission officer. Fire a warning shot. A full spread. maximum intensity. Within seconds, Council warships released their first volley. Beams of plasma, kinetic torpedoes, and ion bursts raced through the void, converging on the mysterious warship. The moment stretched, and all eyes remained fixed on the impact site. Then, something impossible happened. The warship's shields flared for the briefest moment, not in defense, but as if acknowledging the attack. The plasma beams evaporated upon contact. The torpedoes detonated prematurely, as though they had hit an invisible barrier far before reaching their target. The ion bursts simply dissipated. The fleet's captain stared in stunned silence. Not a single scratch had marked the human warship. Then, for the first time, the ship responded. A single pulse of energy rippled from its hull, washing over the blockade like a tidal wave. No explosions followed, no damage appeared, yet every system aboard the Council's warships flickered violently. Lights dimmed, weapons locked, engines stuttered. The once mighty fleet was rendered powerless in an instant. The Council command center erupted into chaos. "What's happening?" One of the Syrian strategists shouted. "We've lost all control of our systems." Valen gritted his teeth. They disabled us without firing a shot. Then a new transmission arrived. Interference was necessary. "We did not wish to harm you. Do not interfere again." The voice was calm, almost neutral, but it carried an unshakable authority. It was a voice that did not plead, did not threaten. It simply stated reality. Vexer slammed his fist onto the table. "They are making a fool of us. We must." The holographic display in front of them flickered in change. The warship had finally sent them something new, a full scan of itself, now visible to every officer in the Council fleet. And what they saw made their blood run cold. The ship was not just powerful. It was unlike anything they had ever encountered. The energy readings were off the charts. The material composition was unidentifiable. Its weapon systems were completely unknown. Every piece of data they had collected defied conventional understanding. This was not an ordinary warship. This was something else entirely. The realization hit them all at once. Humanity had built something that should not exist. And now it was heading straight for their homeworld. The Galactic Council's fleet drifted helplessly in space. Their systems were locked down, their weapons disabled. They were warriors, veterans of countless battles, yet at this moment, they were nothing more than spectators. The human warship had rendered them powerless without even firing a shot. Inside the Council's command center, Supreme Chancellor Valen's fingers trembled over his console. Every attempt to regain control had failed. The human message still echoed in his mind. Interference was necessary. Do not interfere again. Commander Vexer seethed with frustration. His reptilian tail lashed against the cold floor. This is unacceptable. They humiliate us and expect us to watch them march into our space unchallenged. He turned to his officers. Are there no emergency protocols? No way to override their attack on our systems? An engineer's tentacles quivered as he hesitated before responding. There is. One option. He swallowed. A full system reboot. It would take time. And we'd be defenseless. But do it. Vexer barked. Better to be vulnerable for a moment than completely useless. The lights inside the command center flickered. One by one, ships across the fleet powered down, plunging into darkness. It was a desperate move, but it was all they had left. Meanwhile, the human warship continued on its path, unbothered, untouched. Valen leaned forward, his eyes locked on the screen. "We underestimated them," he admitted. "We thought humans were still a minor species. We believed their rise in technology was exaggerated. But this is something beyond us." A deep silence followed his words. The other council members stared at the warship, watching as it moved closer to their core worlds. It wasn't attacking, wasn't firing any weapons. It simply continued forward. Then, something unexpected happened. The human ship slowed down. For the first time, it altered its course, angling slightly to avoid a direct collision with the Council's homeworld. It was a message, an action that spoke louder than any words. "We could have destroyed you," it seemed to say. But we didn't. The tension in the room thickened. Vexor clenched his fists. "Why?" he growled. "Why are they showing mercy?" Valen exhaled. "Because they don't see us as a threat." The realization sent a chill through every officer in the room. The humans had overpowered their entire fleet, disabled their systems, and now they weren't even acknowledging them as worthy opponents. They had not come to conquer. They had come to prove a point. And now, the Galactic Council had a choice to make: continue resisting a force they could not match, or finally accept the reality that humanity had ascended beyond them. "You said." The Galactic Council's fleet slowly regained power. Screens flickered back to life, engines roared, and weapons systems rebooted. But no one dared to attack. The human warship had already proven its superiority without even firing a shot. Inside the command center, Supreme Chancellor Valen watched the screen in silence. The warship had slowed its approach, deliberately avoiding direct confrontation. It was not here to destroy. It was here to deliver a message. Commander Vexor clenched his jaw. "We cannot let them pass without a response." Valen turned his gaze toward the battle-hardened commander. "And what would you suggest? Another attack? Another attempt to stop them?" He shook his head. "We have seen their strength. We are nothing to them." Vexor slammed his fist against the console. "Then we negotiate. We demand to know why they are here." A deep silence followed. The council members exchanged nervous glances. The humans had ignored every attempt at communication so far. Would they respond now? Valen took a deep breath and nodded. "Open a channel." The communication officer hesitated but obeyed. A transmission was sent, broadcasted directly to the human warship. "This is Supreme Chancellor Valen of the Galactic Council. You have entered restricted space. State your purpose." Seconds passed. The tension in the room was unbearable. Would the humans respond, or would they continue their silent march through Council territory? Then the screen flickered. A voice, deep, calm, and unwavering, filled the command center. "This is Admiral Ryan Carter of the UNS Valiant. We are here to deliver a warning." "A warning?" Valen leaned forward. "Explain." The voice continued, steady and resolute. "The galaxy is changing. The balance of power is shifting. We are not here to start a war, but we will not be ignored. You have treated humanity as a lesser race for too long. That ends today." The words struck like a hammer. Every council member felt the weight behind them. The humans were not here to beg for recognition. They were here to claim their place. Commander Vexor sneered. "Bold words for a single warship." Admiral Carter's voice remained calm. "You assume we are alone." The screen shifted. New signals appeared on the radar, dozens of them. No, hundreds. Human warships, emerging from the darkness of space. Silent, waiting, watching. The Galactic Council had feared one warship. Now they faced an entire fleet. Valen's breath caught in his throat. "What do you want?" Admiral Carter's reply was simple. "Respect." The Galactic Council chamber fell into complete silence. The realization of the situation settled in. Humanity had not come to plead for recognition. They had come to declare their place among the stars. Supreme Chancellor Valen's hands trembled slightly as he stared at the screen. The human fleet stretched across the void like a shadow, warships perfectly aligned, waiting for a response. He knew, in that moment, that the Council's decisions today would shape the future of the galaxy. He exhaled slowly and nodded. "Admiral Carter, humanity has our attention." A brief pause. Then the Admiral's voice came again, firm but without hostility. "For centuries, your Council has dismissed our people. You have denied us entry into your alliances, blocked our expansion, and whispered among yourselves that humans were weak, reckless, and short-lived. You viewed us as nothing more than a primitive race." Valen swallowed. It was true. The Council had always kept humans at a distance, afraid of their unpredictable nature. But now, they had no choice but to listen. Admiral Carter continued, "That ends today. We do not seek war. We do not seek conquest. We seek respect. And we are willing to fight for it if necessary." A sharp silence followed. Every council member shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Humanity had revealed their strength, but they had also offered a choice. Valen knew that any wrong move could lead to disaster. He turned to his advisors. "If we refuse, do you believe they will attack?" Commander Vexer frowned. "They have every reason to. We have ignored them, insulted them, and underestimated them." He hesitated. "But I do not think they want war. If they did, they wouldn't have given us a chance to talk." Valen took a deep breath and faced the screen once more. "Admiral Carter, the Council acknowledges humanity's presence in the galaxy." He chose his next words carefully. "We are prepared to negotiate terms for your official recognition." For the first time, Admiral Carter's voice softened slightly. "That is all we ask." The human warships remained still, but the tension in the air had shifted. No longer a looming threat, but a force demanding its rightful place. Valen glanced at his council members, then back at the human admiral. "Let us begin." And with that, the future of the galaxy changed forever.